On a day that could have changed forever the fate of the De Santis family, a powerful dynasty in the Italian pharmaceutical industry, a business dinner was being prepared that would have incalculable consequences. Marcello, the eldest son of the family, a rich and charming young man with a questionable reputation, made a decision that no one would have expected. He asked a cleaning lady to pretend to be his wife, at least for that evening. But he did not imagine what would happen. In this story, many other surprises await you that will keep you glued to the screen. If you like emotional stories like this, subscribe to the channel now. The tension in the air was palpable from the first moments of that fateful day. The ancient De Santis villa was immersed in a silence full of omens and secrets. The walls, witnesses of countless stories of power, seemed to whisper the weight of decisions that could change everything, allowing a glimpse of an uncertain future full of hope. Marcello had grown up in the spotlight, surrounded by luxury and the admiration of the world, but also by gossip. His existence had been a wild ride between lavish parties and media attention, where every move was analyzed and judged, making his life a stage of light and shadow. Magazines portrayed him as a hardened playboy, a party-goer, and an averse to commitments, an almost unreal figure who had managed to capture the public's attention. However, this carefree lifestyle deeply worried his grandfather, the stern patriarch and founder of the family empire, who feared for the future of the company and the preservation of the family legacy. When that dinner with important foreign investors was set, the grandfather imposed an imperative condition. Marcello had to show up accompanied by his wife. A married man conveyed an image of stability, reliability, and maturity, essential characteristics to reassure those who were preparing to invest in the future of the group. Marcello's dilemma grew in his mind as family pressure and investor expectations became more and more oppressive. That evening, every moment counted, and the young man understood that the fate of the entire empire hung by a thread, as fragile as it was determined. The problem was that Marcello had no intention of getting married, much less had a partner capable of the role required. After a long series of arranged meetings, all destined to fail, the young man, now lost between frustration and desperation, found himself in a corner and decided to rely on a bold and unpredictable idea. As he wandered aimlessly through the rooms of his grandfather's sumptuous villa, his eyes fell on her. A cleaning lady bent over polishing the floors, dressed simply but exuding an innate grace and a rare calm, capable of illuminating even the darkest corners. Her name was Eloisa, and her presence seemed to belong to another reality. Marcello approached with the confidence of someone who fears nothing, convinced that the power of money and his position could get him any consensus, without taking into account the feelings of others. In his mind, Eloisa was just a means to escape from the grip of a complicated situation, a cog in the machine of his destiny. With a coldness he had never seen before, Eloisa looked him straight in the eyes and said in a firm voice, "No, I am not part of your games." That refusal, sincere and devastating, was like a bolt from the blue, shaking the foundations of Marcello's pride and forcing him to reconsider his preconceived ideas. In the days that followed, the young man tried in every way to convince her, using showy promises, offers of money, and even veiled threats of dismissal. But Eloisa, forged in the harshness of a life made of sacrifices and dreams difficult to realize, did not give in to any of his insistence. Originally from a small provincial town, Eloisa carried with her the burning dream of becoming a nurse. Every day she fought to support herself and pay for her studies, demonstrating that her strength and determination were the weapons with which she fought against a destiny already written for her. Her firm gaze did not allow compromises, and in that firmness, Marcello discovered a new feeling, a sincere respect that he had never felt before. Struck by the warmth of her determination, Marcello lowered his arrogance and spoke to her sincerely, without masks or deceit. He confessed that the business dinner represented much more than a simple commitment. It was the key to saving the future of the company. a lifeline in a stormy sea. He admitted with words brimming with vulnerability that, if she had agreed to help him, even just for one evening, he could have made a difference. Eloisa, touched by that glimmer of unexpected humanity, accepted the proposal with the clear condition of participating only for that evening, without any promises for the future. At that precise moment, the boundary between deception and reality began to blur, giving rise to a transformation that no one could have foreseen. Marcello meticulously planned every detail. He sent Eloisa an elegant dress, sparkling earrings, and a pair of dream shoes, elements that transformed her appearance and emphasized her natural elegance. When Eloisa showed up that evening, her transformation was astonishing. The simple figure she knew was elevated to an emblem of refined beauty, capable of capturing every eye. The dinner took place in one of the most exclusive restaurants in Milan, a place where luxury merged with the art of hospitality. Guests flocked in droves, attracted by an atmosphere of sophisticated elegance, and by a couple who seemed to have stepped out of a modern fairy tale, perfectly in tune with the expectations of the moment. While Marcello was showing off his brilliance and confidently answering questions about the future of the company, one of the foreign investors stepped forward and addressed Eloisa directly. It was at that moment that the magic took shape, and she revealed talents and qualities that no one had dared to imagine. With a disarming calm, Eloisa responded to each observation with elegance and precision, demonstrating a mastery of the situation that captured the attention of all present. Her ability to communicate, combined with her natural intelligence, created an atmosphere of trust and admiration, changing the perception of investors towards the couple. The evening seemed to transform the hearts and minds of those present. The power of Eloisa's words and Marcello's sincerity merged into an almost palpable energy, capable of breaking down barriers of mistrust and prejudice. In that moment, destiny seemed suspended between reality and dream, while each word spoken traced a new path towards an uncertain future. Her past, tied to humble origins, was now intertwined with a present rich in possibilities. Eloisa also began to speak in the guest's native language, revealing a cultural heritage that helped break down barriers and create an immediate bond with those who listened to her. At that moment, words became bridges between distant and safe worlds, weaving a new and positive energy. The atmosphere in the restaurant changed, radiating a renewed confidence that allowed investors to relax and take seriously the million-dollar deal that was taking shape. That dinner was no longer just a facade event, but the prelude to a profound change, a revenge on the superficiality of appearances. After dinner, in a private corner bathed in soft lights, Marcello looked at Eloisa with eyes full of emotion and admission. With a trembling voice, he said to her, "You were extraordinary. I couldn't have done all this without you." Those words, spoken in a moment of vulnerability, opened the door to an understanding that surpassed all convention. Eloisa's shy smile, combined with a knowing look, revealed that this was not just a strategic meeting, but the beginning of something deeper and unexpected. In the days that followed, the two began to see each other regularly, not out of duty or deceit, but to really get to know each other, discovering in each other's stories the spark of genuine love. Marcello found himself rediscovering parts of himself that he thought were lost, starting to understand that love, when authentic, had the power to shake every certainty and redefine the very meaning of existence. The transformation in him was palpable. The arrogant and superficial boy was slowly evolving into a man capable of embracing vulnerability and sincerity. One spring afternoon, in a flower garden where the sun's rays were accompanied by the scents of flowers, the atmosphere became magical. Between the chirping of birds and the soft murmur of the wind, Marcello knelt before Eloisa with a trembling ring in his hand, ready to perform a gesture that would change the course of their lives forever. The words, though trembling, were sincere and full of meaning. Eloisa, do you want to be my wife? Really? The silence that followed was full of hope and fear, as if the entire universe was holding its breath waiting for that answer that would seal fate. With tears in her eyes, Eloisa, moved by the sincerity of the gesture, accepted. In that moment, the boundary between a farce and a true love story dissolved, leaving room for a new reality in which the value of love and honesty surpassed every preconception. What had begun as a forced staging had transformed into a journey of growth and rebirth, capable of teaching Marcello that true love cannot be bought, cannot be faked, but is conquered day after day with gestures of tenderness and commitment. Slowly, Marcello's inner transformation was reflected in every decision he made and in every look he made towards the future. Every corner of the De Santis villa, steeped in centuries-old traditions, now became the guardian of new hopes and projects, while Eloisa's strength illuminated the path towards a renewed destiny. Even in the darkest rooms and ancient corridors, where once reigned rigor and severity, now a warm and welcoming light spread, a tangible sign of the change that had taken hold. Old rivalries faded in the face of the strength of an unexpected love, capable of questioning even the most deeply rooted conventions. The family's destiny, once marked by rigid conventions and obligations, now turned into a blank canvas on which new horizons were painted. Marcello and Eloisa had shown that even a decision taken in desperation could evolve into a path of redemption and hope. As the days passed, the story of the two intertwined with that of an entire family, marking the beginning of an era in which love and authenticity took precedence over appearances and convenience. Marcello's rebirth was a beacon for all those who had learned to believe in the power of change. As time seemed to slow down, the memory of that magical evening became more and more vivid in the hearts of those who had witnessed that transformation. The echo of laughter, of knowing whispers, and of silences filled with emotion remained as an eternal reminder that even in the darkest moments, the light of love can shine and guide the way. At the end of this passionate journey, as the lights dimmed and the curtain fell on a story that had managed to transform fiction into authentic love, the message was clear. Life is made of courageous choices and moments in which the heart is not afraid to dare. If this story moved you, leave a like, write in the comments what struck you the most, and don't forget to watch the next video that appears here on the screen. That too will make your heart vibrate, and if you want, subscribe to the channel by clicking on the logo that appears next to the video. Enjoy!